Sometimes when I hear doctors talk about that conversation of patients doing their own research and kind of that patient education communication piece, it almost sounds like there needs to be like an additional thing in between. What does that look like for you? Is that AI? Is that an additional patient advocate when it comes to making sure that the patient really has all of the information and understanding of what is actually going on? Is there enough time to do that regularly? If you were to design maybe like an ideal way where those conversations would take place, what would that look like?
Yeah, I think that, again, wonderful question. I think this is one of the uses of AI that we should continue to explore. The idea of translating the medical jargon that physicians try to get away from, but it's quite difficult. Quite difficult, frankly, just to be able to translate those words in your own head and then speak them out loud to a patient in the way that they understand. And then you add in a language barrier or a cultural barrier or an education barrier into the mix, and now you're just floundering in no man's land. So being able to use AI to translate a physician's note and the medications that are prescribed and the care plan and the next steps and the significance of those next steps, I think that's a wonderful use of technology to be able to construct a summary that we can give to a patient that they can actually understand and react to is another wonderful use of AI that I hope to see in the very near future.
Mhm. Do you foresee any barriers to kind of that type of information sharing, even maybe across institutions, as patients may go from one place to another? And what do you hope to see, or what is being developed that might address that issue?
Yeah, there's a lot of barriers to that. And I think there's a misunderstanding in information security and actually the concept of privacy as well. Um, One of our biggest things that I wish never happened is let's see, how do I term this properly? It's really the idea that things should stay locked up in a silo forever. Your conversation with me should remain sacred and it should only be between you and me. Nobody else should know. And on one hand, sure, that makes sense to go down that route. But when it comes to the way that healthcare is actually delivered in 2025, that's not necessarily relevant anymore because our patients, they go everywhere. They go from one institution to another and they might give birth somewhere else. So being able to quickly and easily share that information from institution to institution then becomes imperative. And I think the idea of silos that are kind of predicated upon the idea of security, that needs to be revisited. There's a lot of ways to implement security protocols and privacy protocols that respects the patient, but also makes it so that the information is freely shared among the people who actually need to know,
Mm.
and among, I guess, during the time frame that they actually need to know it.
I'm curious when it comes to the research arm of everything. AI is being used to look at previous clinical trials and things like that. I'm also I know that in the process of developing a study, there have to be checks and balances when it comes to patient information. I'm wondering if you maybe foresee a world of more free flowing information that might accelerate the world of research, using artificial intelligence and machine learning, considering the red tape that already exists.
There's a lot of red tape. But AI is a wonderful tool for taking a lot of information that's out there and then consolidating it into something that people can actually understand and react to and actually implement different therapies and solutions based upon that analysis. The issue that we have is actually with the first part of gathering all this information, making it so that it's in one place or in multiple places that we know about, and it's also accessible to the people who are developing these different research protocols. There's a lot of work, a lot of conversations that are taking place even today about the best way of doing that. It's sad to say we haven't really reached a conclusion to that conversation, but just the fact that we're having the conversation about how do we make it so that the information that we're gathering every second of every single day is made available in some way so that we can actually move the healthcare industry forward at a much higher pace. Healthcare is one of the slowest moving industries in the entire United States of America, and it's partially because of this fear of leaking information inappropriately. And if we can start to understand what that fear is based upon, and then do our best to develop different protocols and trajectories so that that doesn't actually come to fruition, then we're going to be in a much better place.